I don't agree with the message. It is incorrect. It is factually wrong.
What Navy is doing is not only harassing the people, they are actually interfering in people's lives. They are not allowing people to have a happy life.
The Supreme Court has observed that in case any party who is aggrieved by the circulars of the Navy, they can file the petition before the High Court or the appropriate court and advance their arguments.
So the Navy is misleading the whole of Goa. See, somehow government should intervene in this. With due regards to Navy, Navy's काम वाचना. Navy is only following up what on black and white is written. They don't want to interpret.
Is that your circular gives us exemption when our project site falls in Aircraft Act, under Aircraft Act or under any other act mentioned there. Then this 500 meters guideline should not apply.
So this is a duplicity by the Navy.
Yeah.
This is a harassment by the Navy.
You will be surprised that one fine day you will find the population of Mambuga, Teluga going down by 50% because people may shift to other talukas.
Where in the same area, Navy has given permission to one person and not given to another person. That also is a confusion.
Look at Navy, they have built ground plus 15 buildings. Right next to the compound wall of the Aina Sansa. What justification is there for that? If we are not being allowed a ground plus one structure, why are they being given why are they themselves building ground plus 14? Now, Navy also has to comply with the laws of the land. And if Pradhan Mantri says housing for all, Navy is actually not believing in the Prime Minister's vision.
You build illegal right outside their compound wall, they will not interfere with you. But as long as you send your application according to the law and they receive it in their inward section, even they'll start harassing you. But you please do whatever you want on your own with your muscle power, money power, whatever, and they will not interfere with you. This is the actual facts. The moment you go properly according to the law, you get stopped.
आहे ना ऐकलेलं वास्को केलं तरी श्राप हा म्हटलं खूपदा तुम्ही म्हणला.
Vasco has never been, treated with fair hands. Why? That is a big question. तू पहिलीच्यान पळय, Vasco कांयच कोणे दिवना.
Hello and welcome to Goa News Now, friends. आज आसा आमी वास्को आणि एक टॉपिक म्हाका दिसता वी हॅव बीन कंटिन्युअसली रिग्रेसली बीन फॉलोइंग अप आणि तेच्याच खातीर म्हाका दिसता नेव्ही हे टॉपिकाक तितलो दुर्लक्ष करपाचे तयारीन आसा. तुमकां हांवें पयलीं दाखयल्लें की दाबोली वाठारांत कितलेशे घरां मोडलेलीं आहा. तेज्या उपरांत वास्कोचे जे बिल्डर लॉबी आसा, बाकीचे भायर एक नॉर्मल सिटीजन्स आसा, तेका जेन्ना घर बांदचें पडटा तेका कितले त्रास जाता. So all this we have been showing through our channel only to make sure that this issue of naval NOC should be addressed as soon as possible. हालींच आमकां एक नेव्हीचे PRO आसा, तेंचे एक मेसेज आयले. I will love to read out for you all. कित्याक हो मेसेज इनिशियली म्हाकाय कळना की कित्याक खातीर धाडले. And I haven't seen this message being published in any of the mainstream media or in any news channel. But the main contents of this news item or press note is requirement of NOC from defense establishment and provisions contained guidelines promulgated by MOD on 18 May 2011. As amended via MOD letter dated 18 March 2015 and 17 November 2015 has been validated by the Honorable Supreme Court. It's via its order on the subject dated 22nd Jan 24. This is for the information to local media and authorities. No separate press brief by headquarter Goa Naval area. So to begin with, I just wanted to bring more clarity. We have Vasco's well-known prime builder Cedric Bab, Ame Bab, Sanjay Bab, and Bharat Kamat Bab, all well-known citizens of Vasco. And Vasco car sagle. And everybody is worried today because of this one issue. So begin with, I have Cedric Bab, one question. You just heard what I said. आमकां ती मेसेज नेवीन धाडले It was very loud and clear. But they also used one term, Supreme Court, validated by Supreme Court.
Yeah. I already told you that I don't agree with the message. It is incorrect. It is factually wrong. The Supreme Court has not at all validated the circulars. The Supreme Court has not even gone into the merit of the circulars. The Supreme Court has only modified one High Court order where the petitioners advocate themselves said that if the permission was given to them for their construction, they would not press for the quashing of the circulars. And earlier the High Court in Bombay had already quashed these circulars. So the Supreme Court has on the contrary given liberty to any other person other than that petitioner in that particular case, that if they are challenging these circulars in any other court of law, including the Supreme Court itself, those cases will continue. So this is what my understanding is of the order.
Jay, आता message तुमका I'm वाचले.
Yeah.
What exactly you feel? Navy is lying.
I feel that the Navy has either misunderstood the order or the Navy is misleading the public. But the fact of the matter is that the Supreme Court has not at all validated any circulars of the Navy.
Can't करू.
No.
Amebab, you are a legal expert.
Yeah.
You can explain us better. Actually, किधे है?
See, basically, there was a Bombay-based builder by name Dolby Builders who had filed a writ petition in the Bombay High Court saying that Navy had not given them the permission for their construction. It was in Bombay.
Okay.
So Supreme Court in their petition, that is writ petition 2724 of 21, allowed their petition partly, and all the circulars of the Navy, that is
which I read out,
which you have read out, have been quashed and set aside. Those circulars are dated 18th May 2011, 18th March 2015, 17th November 2015, 23rd December 22 have been set and quashed and set aside. Similarly, the letter which was addressed by the flag commanding officer dated 19 March 21 to this Dolby Builders was also quashed and set aside. So against this petition, which was partly allowed, naval authorities, they preferred the appeal before the Honorable Supreme Court. Now, the Honorable Supreme Court, as Cedric Pap has said, before the Honorable Supreme Court, the lawyer for the petitioner, that is Union of India, and the lawyer for Dolby Builders, they agreed that in case the naval authorities gives permission for their construction, they would not press for the other circulars which have been quashed and set aside by the Honorable Supreme Court. So Supreme Court rightly observed that they have given the liberty and they have kept their options open for the other parties who are affected by this circular to approach and advance their arguments, and the cases would be decided case to case. And the Supreme Court has not validated the circulars. As you earlier mentioned, the naval authorities have said that all the circulars which I have read earlier have been validated by the Supreme Court. It has not been validated. This you can observe on the second last page of the order of the Honorable Supreme Court of 22nd January 2024. I'll just read out the observation done by the Honorable Supreme Court. It is further needless to observe that if any other party has assailed the virus of the said circulars, that is the circulars which I have mentioned few minutes earlier, the parties circulars before the High Court or this court, the said parties are at the liberty to advance all the arguments on the virus of the said circulars in accordance with the law. So it means that the Honorable Supreme Court has observed that in case any party who is aggrieved by these circulars of the Navy, they can file the petition before the High Court or the appropriate court and advance their arguments on these circulars. The Supreme Court has not validated the circulars which have been quashed and set aside by the Bombay High Court in the writ petition of 2007-24 of 21, and not the Supreme Court has not validated the circulars.
So that is false information you can
given by the Navy. Only in the Supreme Court has observed that on the basis of the consensus which has been agreed by Union of India and Dolby Builders, Supreme Court has partly disposed of the petition, whereby naval authorities said that they would give the permission to Dolby Builders to go ahead with their construction and give them the NOC within the time limit which has been mentioned in this order of the Honorable Supreme Court of January 2024. They have not validated the circulars as what circulars dates I have mentioned earlier.
So if suppose they had validated, that means that everybody has to follow.
Then everybody would the
Binding.
order binding on the other parties who are aggrieved by these circulars. So the Supreme Court is very clear and it has observed that in case any party is aggrieved, they have to file the petition and approach the appropriate court of law, that is High Court or any other court, and advance their arguments on the basis of this circular. So the circulars have not been validated by the Honorable Supreme Court.
So in simple term for viewer, सरळ भाषण म्हणले जाल्यार एक पार्टीन अप्रोच केल्ले सुप्रीम कोर्टा बिकॉज सुप्रीम कोर्टा
No, High Court.
High Court,
Bombay High Court.
and then the defense counsel went to the Supreme Court आणि तेंच्यांनी फक्त जो जो क्वेस्ट केल्ले ऑल सर्क्युलर्स तेका परत व्हॅलिडिटी नॉट व्हॅलिडिटी
Validity, they have given the option available to them. If anybody is aggrieved by the circulars, they can file the petition before the High Court or the appropriate court, and they can advance their arguments on those circulars. And in the meantime, the Supreme Court has naval authorities has said they would grant the NOC and the required permission for Dolby builders to go ahead with their construction.
that
particular builder, not the entire builder lobby at large.
So संजय बाब हे आर्म ट्विस्टिंग टेक्निक दिसता तुमकां बाय नेव्ही
हे कितें जालां जाणा एक्चुअली Cedric sir, how long this has been going on now?
From 2020.
2020. So just
4 वर्ष झाली.
4 वर्ष झाली. Navy is misleading the whole of Goa. All of, in fact, I will say, since it is we are connected from Naval Taluka, we are all being misled with very due high regards to Navy. And 4 years is not a small amount of time. Etka utmost importance आमच्या government authority घेवपाक जाय आसलें. The PDAs and everybody should have taken the importance of this and they should have expedited the matter. See what is happening indirectly, all the land bank owners are not able to develop the land. It is not only the landowners who are not able to develop, it is also a loss to the exchequer of the government treasury. They are not getting any revenues out of this. If they are able to do it, the cost of construction today and the cost of construction after 4 years or 3 years will be much different. If it had to be done in 2020, it would have been the builder would have been able to give the housings at a lower cost. Today, after 4 years, the escalation is so much that is again going up. So people are at also loss when they are not getting a housing at a reasonable, affordable prices. And not so reasonable, affordable prices. See, somehow government should intervene in this. With due regards to Navy, Navy चे काम असना. Navy is only following up what are black and white is written. They don't want to interpret. And almost just now, how Amay has interpreted the orders and all. I don't think they are interested in going ahead. But unfortunately, it is all loss for the people of Naval Taluka. All the, I will say, all the builders to the government treasury and the general public at large. This has to be sorted out at the earliest and get solutions for this. This is the only way we have to come out of it. Otherwise, I don't know. If we go just by talking and only by sending messages, things won't get sorted out.
Definitely, and I think तुम्ही आता उल्लेख केले की the government should intervene. I think even the minister, guardian minister here locally, he took this issue to the highest level possible with the defense minister and all, Marvin Gudino.
We had made all the efforts, but
No.
Yeah, please.
No. So Navinga, what my point is, what my submission is, that see, first of all, we are still not challenging the circulars. What we are saying is that the circulars themselves give most of the people in Mormugaon the exemption. In para 2 of the circulars, it says that if any project site is covered by the provision of the existing laws, in our case the Aircraft Act, then this circular should not apply. This one small simple thing we are telling the Navy. In fact, at a meeting that we had with the Navy, we had asked the FOGA at that time that who in the Navy is disobeying the Ministry of Defence guidelines, because it amounts to disobedience. No, if the Ministry of Defence guidelines is telling you under what circumstances you are not supposed to apply the circulars, and yet you are applying it, that means you are disobeying the Ministry's guidelines. So the Navy is disobeying. What our point is that whether the circulars remain or not is for matter for the Defence Ministry to decide. Our point is that your circular gives us exemption when our project site falls in Aircraft Act, under Aircraft Act or under any other act mentioned there. Then this 500 meters guideline should not apply. This the Navy is refusing to obey.
Understand.
Yeah, and this Goa government in 2012 had issued one circular and had indirectly or directly told the Navy that you cannot impose these sort of restrictions
Both the restrictions.
unless you come under the law. And that is why from 2012 to 2020, constructions have come up all around the naval establishments. Now suddenly in 2020 they started enforcing those old guidelines. Then we are willing to obey the guidelines, but we are saying give us the exemption provided in the guidelines themselves.
And if
That
they
is
don't,
the issue.
for Vasco, it is the aircraft act.
Yes.
Other areas, even if there are different establishments,
Yeah.
then they can use that circular.
No, that is for that aggrieved party. Say suppose, for example, now in Consolim there is one naval establishment and there is no aircraft act and they apply the circular and they reject that person. Then it is for that person to go to the court and challenge the circulars. But I can tell you that whenever the matter has gone to the court and the circulars have been challenged, the petitioner has always got his NOC. Even in this Supreme Court matter, if Supreme Court has validated the orders, the circulars, if Supreme Court has really validated the circulars, how Dolby Builders is getting his NOC? It's not possible, no? If the circular is valid, then you won't get your NOC. So Dolby Builders is getting its NOC because the court knows that it cannot be applied.
So why they are doing everything? Bharat, you must be taking up projects across Goa, being an architect. कित्याक खातीर हे नेवी सगळे हे सगळे त्रास दिता ते? What could be the reason?
See, many years back, as Cedric has said, the Navy had approached the Goa government to apply these guidelines, and Manoj Parrikar, who was the CM at that time, told them flatly that you cannot impose restrictions on the local population, and he came out with a circular saying that if you want to impose your circulars on the local population, then you acquire the land. So this was the state in 2012. Revenue Department had come out with a notification, and that was given to the Navy. From that day onwards till 2020, neither Navy, neither the military acted on the defense circulars. So it is very clear that the defense circulars don't have legal validity. Because otherwise, आमच्या बांबोळे आसा, फोंडे आसा, नावेली काय मडगांवच्या भायर कितें आसा, आख्ख्या गोंयान 500 मिटर किंवा 100 मिटर लागू कोणेच करूं ना. फक्त वास्कोन नेवी लागल्या आमच्या लोकल पॉप्युलेशना फाटल्यान. आनी वास्कोन फक्त वास्कोन आख्ख्या गोंयान धरत जाल्यार फक्त वास्कोन फायली अडकून उरता.
बाकी
खंयच अडकून उरना. इवन if you look at Inus Mandovi, if Inus Mandovi is a defense establishment, it is a navy establishment. तो एकूय फायल हे करना ते एक्सेप्ट करना आनी काय ना, थंय चालू आसा कंस्ट्रक्शन. थंय काय ऑब्जेक्शन ना. फक्त वास्कोन.
But circular is not restricted to Vasco.
Circular is not restricted. Circular is not defense establishment. Only Inus Hansa. So this is a duplicity by the Navy.
Yeah.
This is a harassment by the Navy. And as Cedric said, the circular itself says aircraft act applies in Vasco. So aircraft act applies. So आमची सगळी construction सुटता.
पण ते करना.
Yeah, and aircraft act strictly deals with the height.
For reasons best known to them.
No, so
in fact, खूप कडेन boundary भायर any defense system boundary by ground plus 20 building approve केला. Cedric will.
Yeah. Even in Goa, 3 army establishments are there, and in entire country 342 army establishments. Government of India has already brought down the restrictions from 500 meters to 50 meters and 10 meters. In Goa, all the 3 army establishments, I think Bamboli, Margao and Ponda, are 10 meters.
10 meters.
So at least to start with, let these people make it 10 meters first. No, first let's start with that. Because what is so great in it that you cannot allow us, and as it is, everywhere the constructions are there. Only the new people who are wanting to do construction, now you are obstructing them. And there are cases where in the same area, Navy has given permission to one person and not given to another person. That also is a confusing matter.
Don't plot
in the same area.
Side by side.
Yeah. And I have also got a reply from the Navy or in RTI that have you given any permissions within 500? And they said yes. When I asked them to give me the details, they said no, it's personal information, we can't tell you. So they are giving. Now who they are giving and who they are not giving, what is the criteria? The Navy is not even able to give us a format on which you are supposed to apply. We are applying for NOC under Aircraft Act and these people are rejecting us under some MOD guidelines. First you tell us now under Aircraft Act are you clear or not clear? If we are in obedience with the law, then Goa government should give us our permission and we go forward. If Navy feels aggrieved by it, let them go to the court.
In simple terms, sir, for the viewers to know, permission मेळना जाल्यार monetarily आमी जेन्ना पळयता, if you look at the figure, monetary figure, कितलो नुकसान जाता per year locally?
I may not be able to tell you that, but I can tell you that PDA is finding it difficult to even pay its salaries. PDA is can shut down like that.
Our Vasco PDA.
Yes,
Vasco
but
PDA
what about
will shut
Vasco
down.
municipality?
Yeah.
Municipality is facing
Construction
equal crunch. There is no construction license revenue. How does the city operate?
It's not only construction revenue, it is once the building is complete,
Then
you
house
get
tax.
house tax,
House tax,
you get other
occupancy.
taxes. The people who are staying there, they spend money, those taxes are collected. So what happens by not allowing any permission, the revenue, direct and indirect revenue is zero.
Vasco has been targeted by Navy
Yes.
for reasons best known to them.
And I'll explain to you another thing.
Yeah.
If you look at Navy, they have built ground plus 15 buildings.
Yeah.
Right next to the compound wall of the Aina Sansa.
Next.
What justification is there for that? If we are not being allowed a ground plus one structure, why are they being given why are they themselves building ground plus 14? Now, Navy also has to comply with the laws of the land.
Correct.
Laws of the land would mean TCP standards. Ground plus 14 is not allowed.
Not allowed in Goa.
So they themselves are in contravention to the law, and they sit pretty saying we are defense. But
No permission required
Yeah.
from local
No,
authority.
even if no
Operational
permission
area.
is required, you have to build as per the laws of the
Yeah.
land.
How can you go beyond the permitted height?
Now another problem what Navy has created is they are not paying any house tax.
No, states. There are a lot of losses because of that.
Navy is creating huge amount of losses, and even Supreme Court judgments they are not complying with where they have been told to pay the taxes.
आणि बिल्डराचे किती हाल जाता? I'm just asking because
See, I'll answer that. It is not a question of the builder. Builders come in because there is a demand. Now let us say, for example, somebody is getting married and he says, I'm going to buy a flat, and 1 year or 2 years after I get married, I'll shift into the flat. आता वास्कोन कन्स्ट्रक्शनात ना, म्हणजे लग्न जाता, भाड्याक रावता, आयुष्यभर भाड्याक रावतलो तो फ्लॅट मेळना म्हणून किंवा वास्कोच्या भायर शिफ्ट जातलो. So what Navy is doing is not only harassing the people, they are actually interfering in people's lives. They are not allowing people to have a happy life. सगळ्यांची ड्रीम एक असता बाबा आपलो फ्लॅट असतो, आपलो बंगलो असतो. तू कोणाकूय विचार भायर वचून, तो म्हणटा म्हाका फ्लॅट जाय. वास्कोन फ्लॅटूच ना. वास्कोन नेवीन सगळी कन्स्ट्रक्शनां बंद दवरल्या. आता तुका फ्लॅट जाय जाल्यार तुका दाबोळे, सांकवाळ थंय वचपाक जाय. आता तू वास्कोन जर कामाक आसा सिटीन किंवा एमपीटीन कामाक आसा, तू थंय 15 किलोमीटर पयस वचून फ्लॅट घेतलो. It is hurting the people of Vasco. It is actually destroying families. These people are not understanding. This Navy is not understanding, but people are actually being harassed, and it is causing a lot of mental problems to people because the dreams of the people to own a house have been squashed completely by Navy. And if Pradhan Mantri says housing for all, Navy is actually not believing in the Prime Minister's vision.
Correct.
what is your view?
Yeah, very true what Bharat is saying. Actually, we have to comply with whatever things has been told to them by the government, but they are acting against the wills of the government. Prime Minister says housing for all, but housing, where is the housing? We are not having housing. You will be surprised that one fine day you will find the population of Manua, Telugu going down by 50% because people may shift to other talukas.
Other talukas. One thing which I observed, कि Murmua taluka has the highest number of illegal construction. So those who are illegal are very happy
Correct.
today,
I was going to tell you that.
and those who are illegal
Yeah.
are facing all
Yes,
this problem.
yes. If you build illegal right outside their compound wall, they will not interfere with you. But as long as you send your application according to the law and they receive it in their inward section, even they'll start
Yeah.
harassing you. But you please do whatever you want on your own with your muscle power and money power, whatever, and they will not interfere with you. This is the actual facts. The moment you go properly according to the law, you get stopped.
So the only way out is the government should intervene and
Yeah.
get that thing sorted.
Yeah.
That we have aircraft act applicable, and please act accordingly.
Correct. So we have been stressing one point for a long time now, 4 years, that we are trying to follow the law. We are not asking for a favor to bypass the law. We are trying to follow the law. Somebody is denying us our rights illegally. Because we are following the law, you are denying us NOC. That is not correct. Under what authority you can deny the NOC?
Another thing, sir, I wanted to know if circular is applicable in Vasco.
Yeah.
Any construction can come up in Vasco. If the circular, whatever they
No,
have.
because they have INS Gomantak here, then can you imagine, we are below the level of the runway and they are stopping people in Vasco on this, that you are 500 meters from my compound wall and God knows what. So, true security will be you keep 500 meters inside your compound wall, no? Whether 200, 500, whatever you want. Outside, how if somebody has one plot which he has bought after his lifetime of earnings, that also you want to restrict him after you have already acquired thousands of square meters of land. It is not possible, no. And in Vasco also, they are stopped people because of 500, and they have got more than 13 or 14 establishments all over Marmugao.
Oh, yeah.
And we had made a rough calculation that more than 2,32,000 square meters or
Right.
something or acres.
Almost around 25% land with them only.
Only 25% of Vasco can be
Can
built on.
be, yeah.
Right.
So what do they
if
want?
Navy imposes their 500 meters distance, only
Yeah.
25% of entire Marmugao Taluka up to Indian oil tanking, Bich Pilani Indian, that can be built on. 75% of Marmugao comes under 500 meters of a defense establishment.
So nothing can happen. They
Nothing
should
can
acquire all
happen.
the
They want you to get a NOC even to build a compound wall. So even for someone to protect his own property, he is not able to build a compound wall because the Navy is not giving him the NOC if he happens to be within 500 meters. So this is total nonsense.
And why? For an existing building, if you want to make any modification,
Then-
you have to go to Navy.
Yeah.
Now,
This is the
Yeah,
irony, and
yeah.
your application will be rejected,
Rejected.
for an existing building.
It has
Forget
happened
the
here
new
in Vasco.
construction.
Vasco,
This is what is happening.
they have rejected repairs and renovation
Yeah.
licenses for buildings existing for the last 40 years.
when this rule was neither.
This rule was not there. Today they are telling him, since you come within 500 meters, you reduce one floor of your building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cut down.
Cut
Yeah.
down.
Cut down. And
For
his
a
building is
of-
there,
Yeah, 40 years old
40
building.
years old building.
Tell me.
It's an irony.
It's an irony, and it is what type of a mindset?
Even the circulars are but it doesn't say prospective or retrospective. Now, as said by Bharat, Sanjay, and Cedric sir, that there are old structures, and if you want to go for repairing, the Navy has to give the NOC because those buildings. Let us consider that there is a building which is existing or occupancy is granted in 1984 or 1985, and they want to redevelop it or do reconstruction or repair. Authorities say, the local authorities say that first to get the Naval NOC, and I have seen that Navy rightly rejects it, putting the principle of these circulars. And as rightly said, they say you demolish one floor, which is not possible because I have got the OC for ground plus 4 floors. So being a law passed subsequently, that cannot have a retrospective effect, saying that you demolish a floor because people have been residing on that particular floor. So I think Navy is acting against the principle of natural justice. And it is not only for the entire Marmugao Taluka. Tomorrow, if I want to build a single bungalow, or as said earlier by this my person who was sitting here, or out of my hard-earned money, I require Naval NOC.
And to get in the case of Dolby Builders, you need to shell out money, reach to
Go to
Supreme
the
Court,
Supreme Court.
so that you are already exhausted.
I will have to.
Yeah.
I will. Each and every person can't afford to approach the court of law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Not
suppose if
possible.
I want to build a small bungalow of maybe 2 bedrooms out of when I have got retired of my hard-earned money, going in the court and being court loaded with n number of cases, it is not possible to get the case disposed of within a year or two. Because courts are also loaded with n number of urgent matters, which are urgent issues which are to be decided first. So once the matter comes, it may take years. So the dream of that common man is at stake. So which should not be allowed.
Now, Naveen, most important, no, one more important thing is that forget about Supreme Court validating these orders. It has not done. The Bombay High Court has, on the contrary, quashed the orders. So it shows, no, that a court, after considering all the circulars,
Yeah.
after considering confidential note given by the Navy, which only the judge reads, which tells you about all the security considerations, and after reading all that, after going into the merits of the circular, the court quashed the circulars. So it shows, no, that okay, we are not in Supreme Court level, but till High Court level, the court has quashed your circulars. What is the meaning of your circulars then?
बरोबर तुमचे खूपदा हांवें ऐकलेलं वास्को कितें तरी श्राप हा म्हणटा खूपदा तुम्ही म्हणला आनी म्हाका दिसता हे नेवीचे प्रकरणा भितर दॅट थिंग्स फिट्स व्हेरी नायसली.
सी वास्कोन कितें जाला, वास्कोन कोणाक पडून गेल्लें ना कितें जाता. वास्को इज अ मनी स्पिनर फॉर द एंटायर स्टेट ऑफ गोवा. Earlier we had the port functioning at a very high capacity, money used to come in. You have the railways originating from Vasco, money comes in. You have the airport in Vasco, money comes in. So Zuari was there in Mormugao Taluka, money comes in. So Vasco was a money spinner earning for the state. Once upon a time it was said that if Zuari shut down the government used to plan as Zuari was planning the shutdown, the state also was planning how to pay the salaries for the next 2 months. That was the money earned from Zuari and Mormugao Taluka.
Once upon a time.
आता कितें जालां, Vasco has never been, treated with fair hands. Why? That is a big question. तूं पयलींच्यान पळय, Vasco कांयच कोणें दिवं ना. We are naturally port आशिल्लो 300-400 वर्सां पयलीं. Railways was here because of the port. Airport was here when the Portuguese left. सगळें आशिल्लें. पूण has Goa government invested in the people of Vasco? Why not? This becomes a big question. हो जर नेवीचो प्रश्न पणजे आशिल्लो, एका दिसान प्रॉब्लेम सॉल्व जावपाचो. एका वरान. वास्कोन कितें जाता, वास्को न्ही, ते पयशे येता, एमपीटी चलता, रेल्वे चलता, एअरपोर्ट चलता, जुवारी चलता, सगळें चलता, पयशे येता स्टेट गव्हर्मेंट. वास्को कितें कोणाक पडून गेल्लें ना, वास्कोन कितेंय ना.
कितले दीस सफर जातले लोक हे अशेंच सफरिंग चालू असतं.
तशें चालू आसा.
Yes,
people should
now,
suffer.
now see, every time there is a rejection, if the party is able to go to court, they are going to court. Already some 7-8 petitions are pending in the High Court. Court has not yet taken up the matters. The day they take up the matters, we'll know what is going to happen. But the problem is that everyone cannot approach the court. Some of the people feel that they have no right to approach the court. Actually, they have every right, but they are not getting the right advice. So they may be thinking that, oh, now how to fight against the government, etc. So government should not be doing this thing. Government should be following the law, not disobeying the law. No.
What's your suggestion to the government in considering this?
No, this
Legal suggestion.
A legal suggestion to the government has to take up the issue and go, because there is a proviso that Aircraft Act is applicable. If
Correct.
Aircraft Act is applicable and which is mentioned in these guidelines, the government has to consider that and give directions to the higher central government to issue necessary directions to the Navy, because Mormugao has been suffering and because of this layman has been suffering. So the government has to take up this issue seriously.
And Navy, because of Navy.
Yeah.
What's your take, final?
See, anything you do, but do it faster, expedite the matter, because as the days run along, it is going to cost a lot to all of us, to the common man or to the citizen of this particular Mormugao Taluka. Because the end user is the end sufferer, because I don't know why it is getting delayed. As Bharat was saying, if it was in Panjim, it would have been done in a day's time. I said it could have been done in 1 hour's time also. Okay, take at least take priority and finish it off faster, so that everybody is at peace and everybody gets the right judgment from the Navy. And
Sir,
that interpretation against Navy should not be there. They should try to justify it and get it sorted out.
Yeah, because the moment some order comes, Navy
Yeah.
gives another interpretation in a different sense. The way they send it to me, saying that it is validated,
Yeah.
which itself is a very big thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what he said was it was never validated.
No.
So it was just one case, and option was kept open for everybody.
Yeah.
And Supreme Court has rightly observed it in its judgment and order of that January 2020.
And in fact, this order was also forwarded by them only to me.
Yes.
I think the
Yeah,
naval
yeah,
officials
yeah.
failed to read their own order,
They
which
not
this-
understood it. Yeah.
or their technical team or estate division should, I think, look into this whole aspect before giving vague and satisfactory and misleading answers to this all misery which is happening in Vasco.
Yeah.
Currently, Vasco is going down. Economy of Vasco has collapsed
Yeah.
totally, I can say.
Yes, yes.
After port closure and this, after Navy's NOC issue, Vasco is totally dead. In days to come, it will be.
Trauma to the families who can't live independently when they want to buy a flat. People are facing a lot of trauma.
And when the financial condition is shaken, everything gets
Yeah.
shook. So it's very bad. I think Navy and other officials should understand. Your one last appeal to the state government, because I have been watching you all these years. You have been taking this task of fighting this on behalf of people.
Yeah. To the state government, we would be very grateful if they could come out with an order stating that local planning authorities should give us permissions if we are in compliance with the Aircraft Act. If Navy wants to impose any restriction, they should do so under the law. These circulars are not the law, so they cannot impose restrictions. So if Goa government gives any direction as was given in 2012 by late Mr. Parikar, then that also will help. According to us, off the record, Navy tells us that if Goa government takes a call, we will agree. They have told us this.
On record, they sense all this.
Yeah, on record it's a totally different story. Off record, whether in Goa or even otherwise, we have been told that if Goa government takes a call, we will obey.
And before I conclude, viewers, I want to clarify this, that nobody here in Vasco is against Navy.
Yes.
So if the Navy people are watching this video, please understand that nobody is against you all. It's against the policies you have adopted with regards to Vasco.
Correct.
If the policies are correct, I think Vasco cars will be very happy, because we have been living with Navy and Navy families from ages. I think certain decades have happened. We have been living peacefully, but now some kind of aggression or some kind of anger is brewing up amongst the society, amongst the people, because everybody is suffering. Moreover, the planning and development authority, the local authority, and the common man is suffering because सगळ्यांचे file reject जातात आणि rejection level is high as compared to
The approval level.
the approval level. Anything you want to conclude, Bharat bhai, before I end up by saying that this should be solved as fast as possible?
The only thing what we can say is go by the law, and the law is the Aircraft Act.
Aircraft.
If you go by the Aircraft Act, every building will be approved barring one or two.
Yes.
The Aircraft Act prevails, the guidelines say the Aircraft Act prevails. Aircraft Act is the law, and that is the final.
Yes.
Navy is playing with the law, and Navy is playing with the people, and this is not right.
Correct.
Because Navy is supposed to be Navy is supposed to coexist with the civilians, and not be at loggerhead with the civilians.
You people have gathered up to reach to highest level to make sure that this there is a conclusion in this issue.
Yeah, definitely. We have to keep fighting because we are fighting for our rights. But at the same time, the Navy being a wing of the government, they should support people who are following the law, no? They are indirectly supporting people who are breaking the law with illegal constructions, and only legal constructions they are targeting. So how does this make sense? It's not correct, no?
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So
we have Navy on the left, we have Navy on the right, we have Navy in the front, we have Navy in the. It is up to them whether they want us to leave or not to leave.
Yeah.
So very beautifully said. It is up to the Navy if they want us to be living or go out of this area itself. Or this might happen if the Navy becomes same, if their action remains same, people will just, Bharat Bhai said, people will definitely move out of this Murguma Taluka and it will be like a desert with all Navy personnel around. Thank you very much viewers for watching the video till now, and also viewers, please leave your comment, whatever suggestions you have for the government and for us sitting here. We will be definitely trying to review those comments, and we will be trying to answer also many people in this. Thank you very much. Keep watching Goa News Now.